Yo, what is up guys? Boris here coming to you guys with my results for the KC Cup. First KC Cup ever in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. I did manage to hit top 1K with this Summoner slash Guardian combo deck. It's not really a combo deck, it's more like a tempo advantage deck. I was using Bandit Keith Switcheroo, so keep that in mind, that's really important. You can use it with Pegasus Mind Scan or other things, but I know my friend Mascarin, Twitch streamer, loves to do that Pegasus Mind Scan. I was running Bandit Keith Switcheroo. I pretty much run Switcheroo for all my decks because when it comes down to KC Cup, when you're facing really tough opponents, consistency is the #1 thing if you want to climb. Getting those win streaks is really important, and Switcheroo is the #1 consistency ability, which lets you shuffle back and make sure that you have the right balance of spell and trap cards and monsters when you really need them. On top of that, Switcheroo also gives you some card advantage, allowing you to shuffle back the Guardians and getting them back into your hand with Summoners. So it's really crazy. I'll go over the whole deck in a second, matchups and all that stuff. But I went ahead and collected my reward. So that'll be up I'll show you guys what I collected. I collected it last night. I couldn't wait for the video. But yes, so here we go. We get some gold just for logging in. We get 300,000 golds. That's aka 3 URs, or a UR and a ton of I'll turn this down a bit. A UR and a ton of SRs. And we get some titles. That's awesome, and some card sleeves. So I'm excited to be rocking this title. This is the top 1K. I believe the only thing above this title would be top 10. I think top 10 got a gold maybe or something. I'm not too sure. But yeah, holy crap, man. Duel Links has been amazing. We just got a new campaign that's crazy. 2 legendary duelists at a time. I love this game. I love what they're doing with the game. I can't believe, the kind of stuff that they've been really bringing to us. It's just insane. So let me go into deck editor real quick so we can look at this thing more in depth, because this is, in my opinion, guys, this is one of the more budget decks in the top ranks that I saw. I mean, I do have 2 mirror walls, but trust me, you can easily replace. There's some cards that you can easily replace around, and as you can see, this is Switcheroo. I don't know why it's called Pegasus. Don't worry about that. Okay, guys, so first thing I want to show you guys are the cards that I picked for the top 1K. First off is Ryoku. I already had Ryoku and this was tough. I really wanted another Twin Barrel Dragon. But when it comes down to it, guys, when you're farming legendary duelists, Prismatics really are what put you in that extra 1K range to get that extra reward. And Ryoku, as a card I'm going to run in all my farm decks pretty much. Being Prismatic is going to give me those extra, 300 or 400 points. It's going to be really amazing. So I really went with this one. I really wanted a second Twin Barrel Dragon, but hey, I went with that. And then Big Shield Gardener is no longer in the card trader, and I didn't have one. So I went ahead and picked it up because I am maybe eventually trying to get one of every card. And Big Shield Gardener is actually used in, Weevil decks, defensive decks. It's a good card. It's a good card. Also, when it's targeted by a spell card, it changes card to face up defense position. So it's going to be an important card whenever Nobleman of Crossout, I think, is released, if it's ever released. Where I got Nobleman of Extermination. So Nobleman of Crossout will probably come out pretty soon, or somewhere down the future. It pretty much removes from play when face down a monster. And Big Shield Gardener is going to be a great counter to that card. Definitely wanted to pick this guy up while I could. And finally, of course, I believe 99% of you guys probably picked Enemy Controller as your SR. Again, a great farming card, going to go in a lot of my farming decks. So another Prismatic bonus. On top of that, it's a must-have in every deck. 2 is even better. So now I have my second Enemy Controller. I'm definitely going to be replacing that in all my decks because this card is really, really good. Now, as for the deck itself, how did I reach this deck? How did I reach getting to this? Because trust me, this is not the first deck I tried. Let me go over the 3 decks that I tried real quick for the KC Cup, in case maybe you guys are looking to do better during the next, whenever the next one comes around. So first off this is the second one. So first thing I started with, guys, is my Spellcaster deck. You guys saw me, I did a few videos with it. I hit King of Games with it, and then I ended up playing it. I tweaked it. This is probably my final build. It is 21 cards, so I might cut one eventually, but pretty much I decided I only need 2 Dark Magician Girls and 2 Magician Circle, primarily because at the high ranks you're going to run into a lot of Sergeant Electro. So Sergeant Electro is is just completely destroys Magician's Circle if he targets it. Also, Gravekeepers is another tough matchup because they get to summon their 2200 guy. So overall, this is just this is a good deck. It easily just won me through 8 stars, got me to 8 stars super easy, no problem. But 8 stars is where it started to get difficult, and at 8 stars I believe I switched over to a Relinquish deck. So if I go over here to this one, everyone was running Relinquish at the top, and I pretty much ran this deck. I think Half Shot I put in at the last second. I think I was running something else. Oh, I was running a second Storm, I think. I was running Storm and I was running Tornadoes, but those didn't really work out for me too well. But yeah, I used a Relinquish deck to get me to the 9 star, from 8 star to 9 star. It was just what everyone else was running. I want to try it out myself. I had a Sonic Bird, Senju, Sphere Karibo. The problem with the Relinquish deck, guys, is that everyone is running counter Relinquish cards. So everyone at 9 star and above knows how to play against Relinquished. They're going to counter it. They're going to save their key cards. They're all good players and they know what they're doing. So playing Relinquished, you ended up a lot of the times just actually wasting 3 cards. You ended up wasting your Ritual, your Relinquish, and whatever you used to summon it. And so pretty much what I was thinking was, well, if everybody is pretty much playing decks to counter Relinquished, if Relinquished is just another monster, then I would almost every game I would end up hiring card advantage. So what did I say? Well, let me go ahead and switch to a deck that pretty much is the same kind of deck. It's a little tempo, I was poking in with my 4-star Ladybugs and my Yomi ship when I got the chance. Possessed Dark Soul is amazing. Let me switch over to a deck where I can outgrind my opponent. They're going to be holding on to their Order to Charges. They're going to be holding on to their Mirror Walls and their whatnot. I'm just going to have my monsters gaining my self-advantage, and I'm going to apply pressure and make them waste all their cards, and eventually I'm going to have more monsters than them. So that's where I said, okay, let me go ahead and run Summoner Combo. Now, this is why I always preach opening Age of Discovery first if you're a new player. And if you go back to my video of what packs to open first, Age of Discovery, I cannot say that enough. Age of Discovery, I mean, sure, you can reroll for a Mirror Wall. My friend did that. I recommended reroll for Mirror Wall and then do Age of Discovery. It's probably the best strategy if you're starting off. However, Age of Discovery is only around till the end of the month. The reason is, this is one of the best combos in the game. Like I said, this combo got me to top 1K. Arsenal Summoner, when you flip summon Arsenal Summoner, add a Guardian from your deck to your hand. And a Guardian of the Throne Room is a Guardian, so you can get him. What is Guardian of the Throne Room good for? Well, first off, he works with Order to Charge, which is, in my opinion, the number maybe 2, 3, or 1 card, depending on, it's definitely top 3 cards in the game right now. It's amazing, it's overpowered, and normally it is a bit difficult to use because you do waste a monster, but pretty much with Arsenal Summoner you get that monster for free, so it's if you didn't sacrifice anything. If you draw all your Guardians, you can switch them back into the deck and hopefully get an Arsenal Summoner and then get it back. So Order to Charge works with Guardian, and it's really good. The other important thing, the other reason I thought this was really, really good, because everyone's running Sergeant Electro. Everyone's running Sergeant Electro, 1600 attack. You're going to lose a lot of the times if you can't get it off the board. Guardian has 1650, so you set your Arsenal Summoner, who by the way has 16, you notice both these guys have 1600 defense. You set your Arsenal Summoner, they summon their Sergeant Electro, think they're good, attack your Arsenal Summoner. He's 1600, so he survives. You summon Guardian next turn, which you get from the Arsenal Summoner. And also you have 2 monsters that they have to deal with. So sure, they can waste a Windstorm, or sure, they can waste the Mirror Wall. I still have a 1600 on the field, they can't get through it. And if they have any way to deal with it, I can just Order to Charge. So it's pretty crazy. This deck does struggle a little bit against Jerry Beansman, so I went ahead and put Possessed Dark Soul. A lot of times I wanted them to summon Relinquished because then I could take it for free and win the game. So it's again, this is very anti-Relinquish. You have to play anti-Relinquish at the top decks, at the top levels in my opinion, unless you're going for a different type of strategy like a Burnout, like a Weevil Burnout, or like a some sort of weird like Odeon Trap Burnout. You have to play anti-Relinquish if you're doing an aggro strategy, so you need, I'd say, at least 3 of these cards, Order to Charge or Enemy Controller in that combo. 4 would be really great, and I'm thinking of adding a 4th probably over this Ryoku, which Ryoku was nice. Ryoku's a very anti-mirror wall card. If you Ryoku your opponent's monster, you're gonna get over it mirror wall no matter what. So this is a very nice card. Also forces out a Sphere Karibo from their hand. Twister, in my opinion, is a must-have. 2 Twisters. Oh, it's not a must-have, but it definitely is nice. If you start off with Twister against a Harpy's Hunting Ground or a if you start off with Twister against either one of those 2 decks, it's almost an auto win. Because against Rex, they can't get over your 1600s. They just can't. You set a guy in defense mode, they can't do anything about it unless they summon a Warrior Digrapher for some reason they have it, or a Jerry Beansman, which a lot of them did run Jerry Beansman. But even if they do summon it, you have a ton of cards to counter it. So again, Twister's almost an auto win against Rex with this deck. And against Mai, it's almost an auto win, not necessarily, because they can get some relinquished plays. They tend to have more Jerry Beansman, more Order to Charge in the Rex decks, like more 1700 Dunamis Dark Witch. But it's still pretty easy from there. If you don't start with Twister, and it's a little bit more difficult, but it's still very doable. As for the other cards in the deck, 2 Mirror Walls. I got lucky. But if you notice, guys, I don't have Metalmorph in the deck. I highly recommend putting in a Metalmorph over the Mirror Wall. Metalmorph you can get by Bandit Keith at level 25, I believe, which I'm trying to get myself right now. Mirror Wall is definitely replaceable. And to be honest, guys, at the high levels, they're going to play around your Mirror Wall. The Mirror Wall will almost never be useful. I mean, yes, it will be good. It will be good. I'm not going to lie. But it would almost be as good as running a Metalmorph, because the 300x attack is more than enough. Or your monster is 1600 plus, except for Possessed Dark Soul, but you're never going to really attack with him too often. So a Metalmorph will put him at 1900. So the only thing it would really trade with would be a Rex. But I still recommend it. Also allows you to attack through Mirror Wall, so it's really good. Mirror Wall has the downside of only being used on defense, whereas Metalmorph has the ability to be used on offense as well. So I really like it, and I would probably replace a second Mirror Wall if you don't have it with Metalmorph. Mishizuri, again, Age of Discovery. Open Age of Discovery, get those Arsenal Summoners, get the Guardians, and get the Mishizuri. Highly recommend it. This card is really good. If you have 2 Order to Charge, Mishizuri is a must-have, because if you order to charge your monster, then you can respond with Mishizuri, assuming you don't miss the timing or whatever. So that's a combo I did all day long. Order to charge your monster, because my monster went to the graveyard from Order to Charge, activate Mishizuri once that resolves, and I get to take out 2 of your monsters for 1 of mine. Anytime you can trade a spell or trap card for 1 of their monsters, that is a winning position. You're going to be winning most of those games because you're up a monster. And finally, Windstorm. Every deck has Windstorm. This is a staple. This is one of the #1 staples I saw in the top tier. Everyone running one Windstorm. It's a free-to-play card. Everyone has it, and it will save you for 1 turn, no matter what. This is one of the reasons Sergeant Electro is so popular. It can force out the Windstorm. It can force out the Mirror Walls. It's really, really good. I don't have one. I would probably take out a Guardian for one, to be honest, because you can fetch out the Guardian with the Summoners. So if I did have a Sergeant Electro, I would definitely consider running it. Like I said, maybe over a Guardian. If I had a second Jerry Beansman, I would probably take out the Warrior Digrapher. But you definitely need those normal monsters for Order to Charge. And finally, Adhesion Trap Hole is just a card I pulled. I wanted to test it out, and it always did work. Really important because it puts your opponent's monster at half permanently, so you don't have to worry about Mirror Wall. It's a good tempo play when you're ahead, and when you're behind, you can set a monster at Adhesion Trap Hole their monster, and they can't get over it. So you can choose how to play it. It is a little bit clunky when they are in a winning position, so you can't really use it at that point. But it still worked out more than enough to warrant a spot in the deck. I really, again, this could be replaced with some other cards. This is just like a filler. I needed an extra trap card, and this is probably the best one I had at the moment. So, yeah. So yeah, overall, guys, this is like I said, this is a pretty budget-friendly deck per se, because let's say you don't have Jerry Beansman, then just put in another Warrior Digrapher. If you don't have Ryoku's from the shop, this is definitely, like I should say this is budget friendly if you're playing from the beginning, because if you're playing from the beginning, then you have your Age of Discovery and your Ultimate Rising cards. If you're a new player, it's going to be a bit more difficult because the Order to Charge is kind of necessary. But again, just open up that Ultimate Rising, replace Mirror Wall with a Metalmorph, and you know, make sure to get those. I mean, the rest of it is pretty straightforward. You can definitely make some replacements, guys. And again, this is really for the top level. If you're playing, you know, King of Games or something, you can definitely get away with like one Twister, one Order to Charge, and you know, replacing those. You could put in a D-Spell over Twister. Most of the, you know, Twister can be played against Mirror Wall and stuff like that, but to be honest, 99% of the time it was just a D-Spell. So, you know, getting rid of those Mask of the Accursed, getting rid of field spells, getting rid of the pumpkins, that's really what it does, getting rid of the Burning Land. So you can replace that with D-Spell. And enemy control, I know it's kind of hard to get, but if you're in top 200,000, I think you could get a free one. So yeah, this is just a pretty interesting deck. I don't think I saw any Arsenal summoners at 8-star plus. I was the only person that I literally saw the 0. Yeah, on my climb, you know, all the way. I ended up at 10,400 points. So I think this is pretty unique. I think it was a good pick. I think more people should be playing Arsenal Summoner, to be honest. It's just super. If you start with Arsenal Summoner, it's almost always a win. If you don't start with it, then you have to play a little bit more conservative. Make sure you try to draw out the game a little bit so you can draw your Arsenal Summoner and start getting that card advantage going. And definitely, if you have Possessed Dark Soul, you can play the game super reckless, because anything goes wrong, you can just take the Relinquish, take the Jerry Beans, man. So quick, before I end the video, I want to do some quick matchups. So I'll start with the Bandit Keith. Just Bandit Keith. Bandit Keith decks. You want to put away Twister. You want to put away Ryoku with your switcheroo as fast as possible. You don't need Twisters, and Ryoku normally is not that necessary. Ryoku is more of a late game card, to be honest. Once you've worn down their back row, in general, you want to put that away if you can. However, keep in mind you want to save your switcheroos if possible as well. And Order to Charge is necessary in most decks. To be honest, actually I feel like most aggressive decks, so Bandit Keith, my and Rex definitely look for Twister. Bandit Keith, you can put away Twister, look for a different card. But overall, you want to be looking for those normal monsters and those Order to Charges. Number one for against the aggressive decks. Wait for them to activate their Order to Charge so that you can respond with yours. Don't force it out, because if you only force the Order to Charge if you are way ahead, otherwise they can really make a comeback. So remember, summon your Guardian 1650, force them to activate theirs, and you'll be good to go. Also with Weevil, it's really important that you keep your Twisters. Once again, you look for Twisters. Save your switcheroos, because if you see a Parasite on top of the deck, you can switcheroo. If you switcheroo into a Parasite, then it actually goes into your hand and it doesn't activate the effect, so that's kind of cool. And get rid of the mirror walls. You don't really need mirror walls, although be careful with the panda. You don't want to lose the panda or whatever his name is, but yeah, be careful. I would get rid of mirror walls. You want to look for the Mishizori Order to Charge combo against Weevil, because that will pretty much win you the game. Order to Charge is their Cocoon of Evolution, and Mishizori their other face down card, and just attack. Should be pretty easy. Ryoku is also a good way to get around the high defense monsters. And what is the other deck that I see at the top? Gravekeepers. Gravekeepers is the number one thing, is look for Possessed Dark Soul. If you can look for Possessed Dark Soul against Gravekeepers, then you'll be good to go. Play around Sphere Karibo. Remember, keep in mind, if they have a back row, then they're gonna have Recruiter plus the breakthrough card that brings it back, whatever it's called. And if they have Sphere Karibo, that means you have to have 3 monsters. And so a lot of times it's better to just not attack it and just wait till you have a board full of monsters. Maybe have an enemy controller or to charge. Make sure to activate it during their standby phase so that they can tribute their monster. And overall, you should be good. I think I had an amazing record against Gravekeepers. And I think that was really most of the decks. It was mainly just either aggro decks with some Relinquished in there, or it was Weevil, or it was Gravekeepers. The final sort of deck that I did run into a little bit was the Joey Wheeler coin flip deck. So below 1k HP, they will get heads on everything, and that was really annoying. So what I recommend, guys, is getting them. Don't get them below 2k. Get him around, if you can, try to get him, try to get one hit in, so get him right below 3k, and then go for the OTK the next turn. Try to wear them down, take care of their monsters, take care of their trap cards, but don't deal damage. Don't get him below, to be honest, don't get him below I'd say 2k. If you get them around 2k 500, they can mirror wall, but then they're down to 5k life points, or 500 life points, and at that point, even if they go off, you have a good chance of still winning. But trust me, if you get them below 1000, they will chain Cup of Ace into Twin Barrel Dragon, into Time Wizard, you know, whatever. It's going to be tough to take care of them. So, highly recommend that, because I did see a good amount of Joey decks, and I think that is it for now, guys. So, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this deck profile. I'm going to do more videos for Duel Links. I know I stopped making them, but I'm enjoying this game way too much. They're doing such a good job with the game. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys next time, and until then, peace.